The Egyptian army, though battered, remains a formidable fighting force. 9 of its 14 divisions have not yet seen combat and could be used to block the Israeli drive to the Suez Canal. Amer, however, has no fight left in him. He wants to withdraw. But when his generals submit a plan that will take 3 days to implement, he panics and orders the army to get out of the Sinai immediately.
The withdrawal was not planned. A planned withdrawal means an orderly retreat to specific positions. The withdrawal orders were issued without details, and the local commanders were left alone to execute them. It resulted in a lot of confusion on the Sinai front.
The Egyptian army took a month to move into the Sinai, and now they are trying to escape in a day. Amer's withdrawal order is intercepted by the Israelis, and they set a trap. There are 100,000 Egyptian soldiers and hundreds of tanks to be captured or destroyed.
Instead of the original plan of attack, we decided to encircle the Egyptian army. We knew they had a withdrawal order, and so they would have to find a way to break out of this encirclement. Rather than attack them, we were waiting for them to come to us.
Fatih Abu el-Rish has been retreating on foot for over 24 hours.
We were walking in groups of 3 or 4. We knew the roads because we had spent 3 years in this area. As we walked, we looked in broken down cars for food or water. Everyone was looking to the sky. We were afraid that there would be an airplane coming to attack us. No one was thinking about anyone else, only about himself.
Yehoshua Bar Dayan writes in his diary,
I am driving over bodies. There are human limbs, one after another. I'm driving over the face of an Egyptian soldier. His nose is sticking up, and his eyes are open. I am searching for a word that will describe the sight. It is the total destruction of the Egyptian army.
Tens of thousands of Egyptians are taken prisoner. An Israeli soldier near the airport of El Arish captures this on film. As the numbers become overwhelming, the Israelis decide to keep only officers and specialists and let the others go.
There was chaos until we got to the banks of the Suez. The Israelis told us, go back home. They captured a huge amount of soldiers and were detaining about 20,000 people, but then they let them go.
Tens of thousands of Egyptian soldiers are going home with tales of defeat and destruction. There will be no more cheering crowds, no easy lies about victories. By late afternoon, Nasser meets with his senior officers, including Field Marshal Amer. Distraught, the officers leave the 2 men alone. Nasser comes out with an ashen face and says, "Everything is over. We're agreeing to a ceasefire."
He was very sad. He reiterated what he said to me, "If I knew the army was incapable of military confrontation, I would have avoided it. I am a chess player. I can play politics, I didn't have to go to war.
With his army destroyed, Nasser decides to face his nation. He justifies his road to war and admits that the Egyptian army has suffered a terrible defeat. But he avoids responsibility and blames the US and Britain for helping Israel. He then stuns his countrymen and the Arab world by resigning as president.
أيها الإخوة، لقد تعودنا معا في أوقات النصر وفي أوقات المحنة، في الساعات الحلوة وفي الساعات المرة، أن نجلس معا وأن نتحدث بقلوب مفتوحة، أن نتصارح بالحقائق.
أذكر مصور تلفزيون.
I remember the cameraman was crying.
ماسك الكاميرا اهتزت.
The chief cameraman had to take over for him in order to continue the broadcast.
Nasser has barely finished his speech when thousands and eventually hundreds of thousands of Egyptians, many organized by his political party, fill the streets, crying, shouting, begging their leader to stay.
We heard it on the radio. We wanted to go to Cairo and to tell him, no, don't resign. He had to stay. It's like your son has done something wrong and is trying to avoid responsibility. You have to deal with the matter and correct your mistake.
Not only the Egyptians took to the street, but all Arabs everywhere. He received calls from other presidents asking him to stay.
Hours later, Radio Cairo announces that Nasser will not resist the voice of the people. He says that he will remain in office until the traces of Israel's aggression are eradicated.
In all the countries in the world that went through similar experiences, the governments fell. But not the Arab regimes. That's the situation I had to face, as well as millions of other citizens. Here we were, left in the middle of a path, a deserted, dry path. Not a cloud in the sky, no promise of rain. We were left with the ruins of our dreams.